Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we take really fascinating source material and we try to distill it down into, knowledge and insight for you. So today we're doing a deep dive, a really profound one actually, into a classical Buddhist text. It's called the Pabbajjāsutta.
Often called the Discourse on Renunciation.
Right, renunciation. And our mission really is to unpack the Buddha's huge decision to leave his worldly life behind.
It's a foundational moment.
Absolutely. We'll explore his reasons, his journey, and there's this really powerful encounter with a king that we need to get into.
It really is quite dramatic when you read it.
Yeah. So, what drives someone to just abandon everything they know, for a path they don't know, a spiritual path?
And what can that teach us, about our own lives, our
Yeah.
priorities,
Yeah.
our ideas about freedom?
Exactly. Okay, let's dive in. So, the core of this whole sutta, it revolves around this concept, pabbajja.
Hmm.
And as you said, it means renunciation, or maybe better, going forth.
Yeah, going forth captures it well, because it's not just packing a bag and leaving, is it?
No, it's presented as this profound, complete shift in perspective. Your whole view on life changes.
And that's clear from his core reasons, right
Yeah.
there in verse 406. He explicitly contrasts two ways of living. He saw household life, garavaso, as sambado,
Which means,
confined, crowded, constrained, and also rechasayatanam,
okay,
like a source of dust or defilement, almost like spiritually messy or stifling.
stifling. Yeah, that feels right. But then, in contrast,
In complete contrast, he saw pabbajja, renunciation, as abukaso,
open space.
open space, freedom. That's how he perceived it. Not as loss, but as gaining this incredible openness.
That's such a powerful framing. It really shifts the focus.
It does, and it makes you reflect, doesn't it? Have you ever felt that feeling of being bogged down, maybe constrained by things in your life, and just yearning for some kind of open space?
I think most people can relate to that on some level. And this wasn't just a philosophical idea for him, right? The text says he acted immediately.
Instantly. Verse 407 is clear. He immediately started avoiding evil deeds, bodily actions.
Okay.
He abandoned misconduct in speech, completely changed how he spoke,
Right.
and purified his livelihood, made sure how he sustained himself was blameless.
So it's a total transformation, not just thinking differently, but being different. Body, speech, mind, livelihood, everything.
Precisely. It wasn't just a change of location, it was a fundamental change of conduct.
Okay, so he's made this huge internal and external shift. Where does he go? The Sutta then describes his journey, right, to Rājagaha.
That's right. He heads to Rājagaha, which was a major city in Magadha, also called Giribhaja,
And the text calls him Kakuma.
the one with vision, yeah?
Yeah.
Or simply Buddho, the awakened one. He goes there to seek alms, which is the monastic way.
But there's something striking about his appearance even then. It mentions he was Akit Tavarlakan.
Adorned with excellent signs. Even in simple monk's robes, there's something remarkable about him, something that radiated.
And someone noticed.
Someone very important noticed. King Bimbisāra spots him from his palace balcony, basically.
Wow. What did the king see?
Well, the description the king gives, or thinks, is amazing. Verses 409 to 411. He describes him as Apuru Kobrasuchi,
Which means?
handsome, tall, and pure.
Okay.
Also, Karayanyu Eva Sampano, perfect in conduct. He could just see it in how the man carried himself.
Just from a distance?
Apparently so. He noted his gaze looking only a yoke's length ahead. Very mindful, not distracted.
A sign of inner focus.
Exactly. Okirakaku Satama. Downcast eyes, mindful. And here's the kicker for the king.
Yeah.
He concludes, Naya Nikakulumiva.
This is not someone from a low lineage.
Precisely. Despite the simple robes, the humble begging, the king saw nobility, an inherent quality.
So what does the king do? He must be incredibly intrigued.
He is. He immediately sends his royal messengers, tells them, go, follow this bhikkhu, this monk, see where he goes, what he does.
So the Buddha now has royal spies tailing him.
Effectively, yes, though perhaps just curious observers at this point.
Okay, so the messengers follow him on his alms round. What do they see?
They report back on his incredible mindfulness. Verses 4 and 12 to 4:14 describe it.
How so?
He walked systematically from house to house. His senses were guarded, kutedvaro, well-restrained, susavuto.
Guarded doors,
Mm.
meaning his senses, like sight, sound.
Exactly. Not letting his mind get pulled here and there by sense impressions. He was fully present.
Focus.
Very. Filled his bowl quickly, efficiently, and the text emphasizes he was sampajana patisado, fully aware and mindful throughout the whole process.
It's a picture of complete composure.
Utterly. Then, after the alms round, he leaves the city. He heads for Paṇḍava Mountain, Pabbajjāsutta, to find a place to stay and, presumably, meditate.
And the messengers follow him there too.
They follow him, see where he settles, and then report back. One messenger returns to King Bimbisāra, verses 4:15, 4:16, and the report is quite evocative.
What does he say?
He says the bhikkhu is now seated, facing east, on the slopes of Pabbajjāsutta Mountain, and he compares him to
what?
like a strong tiger or a lion in a mountain cave.
Wow. Not just a simple monk then. Power, majesty, even sitting quietly.
Exactly. It conveys this sense of immense inner strength and presence. The king didn't just see outward nobility. His messenger confirmed this powerful, almost regal stillness.
That must have sealed it for the king. He had to meet him.
He did. Hearing that report, the king doesn't delay. Verse 4:17 says he gets in a fine chariot and heads straight for Pabbajjāsutta Mountain, swiftly.
In his royal chariot.
Yep. But then, verse 4:18 shows something really interesting. He rides only as far as the chariot can go on the terrain.
And then?
Then he gets down. He approaches the Buddha on foot.
Showing respect.
Immense respect. He walks up quietly, exchanges polite greetings, the usual courtesies, and then sits down near him, not towering over him, but meeting him respectfully.
This is a king meeting a wandering ascetic. It's quite a scene.
It really is. And after those initial pleasantries, King Bimbisāra gets straight to the point. Verses 419, 421.
What does he say?
He acknowledges the Buddha's appearance. You are young, you're youthful, clearly in the prime of life.
You noticed that too.
Oh, yes. Excellent in appearance, he says. And then he echoes his earlier thought, like one born of a Kshatriya family, a warrior or royal lineage.
He saw the potential there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He basically says, look, you could be leading an army, you'd look magnificent at the front, elephants and all. He sees worldly power and status written all over him.
And then comes the offer.
Then comes the big offer. I offer you possessions, the king says. Enjoy them. Just tell me your family background when I ask.
Basically, join my court, live in luxury, tell me who you are. An offer of wealth, status, comfort, everything the Buddha had just walked away from.
Everything. It's the ultimate test, in a way. The world calling him back, offering its finest treasures through the mouth of a powerful king.
And how does the Buddha respond? This is the crucial part.
It is. Verses 422 to 424 contain his answer. It's profound.
Okay.
First, he confirms his lineage, just as the king suspected. He says, O king, there is a country straight ahead at the foot of the Himalayas.
Right.
Endowed with wealth and energy. Its people are Kosalas.
The Kosalan kingdom.
By lineage, he continues, they are Adika, descendants of the sun. By birth, they are Sākiyans.
So confirming he is indeed from a noble, powerful family, the Sākiyan clan.
Exactly. He doesn't hide it. He lays it out clearly. But then comes the core message.
The reason?
The reason. He says, from that family I have renounced, O king. And why? Not desiring sensual pleasures.
Directly addressing the king's offer of possessions and enjoyment.
Directly countering it. And then he gives the insight behind that choice. Seeing the danger, Edanava, in sensual pleasures.
Danger. That's a strong word.
It is. Seeing the inherent danger or disadvantage in them, and seeing renunciation, nakama, as freedom, as safety, kema.
So it's that same contrast again. Danger versus safety. Confinement versus freedom.
Precisely. And he concludes with his purpose. I shall strive for exertion padanaya.
Striving. Exertion towards what?
Towards enlightenment. Towards the goal. Padana means striving, effort, the main effort of the spiritual path. He finishes, my mind delights in this.
Not in possessions, not in status, but in the effort, in the striving itself.
That's his joy. That's his delight. He completely turns the king's worldly values upside down.
Wow. What an exchange. So let's try and unpack this a bit. What does this whole story, this sutta, really tell us? I mean, it's an ancient text, but it feels incredibly direct, like we're getting a real glimpse into that foundational moment.
Absolutely. It's raw and powerful. And what stands out is that stark contrast we keep mentioning.
The king's offer versus the Buddha's choice.
Exactly. Worldly power, wealth, status, enjoyment, all laid out. Versus this determined pursuit of inner liberation. It couldn't be clearer.
And that phrase, seeing the danger in sensual pleasures. It's key, isn't it?
It's absolutely pivotal. And it's important, I think, not to misinterpret it as saying, all pleasure is inherently bad or evil.
Right. It's maybe more nuanced.
I think so. It seems more about recognizing their nature, their impermanence, the way they can lead to attachment, craving, disappointment, and ultimately suffering or unsatisfactoriness. That's the danger.
The potential downside. the hidden cost.
Yes, and seeing that clearly is what makes renunciation look like open space. It's freedom from those bonds, from that cycle of chasing and disappointment.
So the apokaso, the open space, isn't emptiness, but potential.
Potential for true focused effort, that striving for exertion, the padana. You're free from the distractions and dangers of sense pleasures to pursue something deeper.
And the purification we talked about earlier, body, speech, livelihood.
That's presented as the way to that open space, not as a grim duty, but as clearing the path, removing the obstacles, the dust, so you can actually strive effectively.
It reframes discipline as liberation, in a way.
Beautifully put. Discipline as liberation. And it brings up a really potent question for us looking at this today.
Which is,
what does this whole encounter, this stark choice, tell us about how we value things? How do we weigh inner freedom against, say, external markers of success or pleasure?
That's a heavy question. This whole deep dive into the Pabbajjāsutta, it really lays out this incredible story. It's about self-discovery, isn't it? And just immense courage.
The courage to walk away from the known, the comfortable, the expected.
To forge a completely unconventional path. It really is a journey from, well, constraint to liberation.
From what the world thinks is powerful, the king's perspective, to a completely different kind of power and wisdom.
So as we wrap up, maybe a final thought for our listeners to chew on.
Well, I think it comes back to perception. The Buddha's choice wasn't arbitrary. It was based on seeing things differently, seeing danger where others saw pleasure, seeing freedom where others saw deprivation.
Right.
So the question becomes, what dangers, maybe subtle ones, and what potential freedoms do you perceive in the things you pursue in your own life? How might really looking closely at those perceptions like the Buddha did maybe shape your own path, your own striving?